Welcome back everyone. Today we are going to publish our website onto the web. And to start with that, first we need to buy a domain. You can see in here I'm using Namecheap, and I've already bought a domain which is FairMobileGames. The next thing we'll want to do is go to DigitalOcean and create an account over there. Then you have to create a droplet, which is basically our server. You'll need to create a database cluster. This is where we're gonna create our database in. And that should be enough for our project. Next, we'll also be using Laravel Forge. So this is a product that lets you deploy and manage your websites in a very convenient way. And in here, you'll have to create an account and you'll have to create a new server. So if you click on server over here, you can then select DigitalOcean. And you'll have to complete all these things in here and then create server. And after that, you'll have to allow Laravel Forge to connect to DigitalOcean through a token. But the instructions are really very easy to follow and you shouldn't have any issues with that. So let's close this in here and let's go to our main server. The first thing we'll want to do is to go back here to Namecheap, and we need to change the DNS settings for our domain. So in our case, we're using DigitalOcean, so we'll have to add 3 new custom domain name servers. So one of them is ns1digitalocean.com, then we have ns2, and then we'll add a new one, and this one is ns3. We can save this. Okay, next we want to go to DigitalOcean. In here, we want to go to networking. And we want to create a new domain. So for this, we're going to put our new domain name in here, which is FairMobile.games. And I'll just select my project and I will add a domain to that project. Let's start by adding some values in here. So we're going to need some values, which is going to be, first of all, we're going to have an A record, which is going to go directly to our domain. And in here, we're going to select our main server. We're going to create this record. So now we have an A record for our domain. Another A record is going to be for our API, which is going to be a subdomain of our main domain. And this is also going to point to the main server. We're going to create this record. And the last record we're going to add is going to be a CNAME record. And this one we want to be an alias of the main host. Okay, so now we have this one that points to FairMobile.games, and this one points directly to the server, and then we also have the API domain, which is a subdomain of our main domain, and it also points to our main server. Now we're back into our Laravel Forge, so let's create a new site in here, and we're gonna say API.FairMobile.games. And this is going to be our Laravel project, so we're going to leave it as Laravel in here. And we won't touch this. I just want to change to use PHP 8.1. Everything else we'll leave it as it is. Let's add the website. In here we want to connect our Git repo with our website. So in here I'm just going to copy the user and repo name. Okay. Let's refresh this, see if it actually sees everything. So we want to connect this to the master branch. We want to install Composer dependencies, and let's install the repo. Okay, this is now installed. First thing we want to do is, actually let's go to our environment. Okay, so we'll want to add a couple of things. So one of them is going to be the database connection username and password. So we have the username in here and the password. We can click show over here and we'll just copy it and put it back into Forge. In here, let's add our username. Also the password. Now let's go back and get the host. Okay, for the host, we're going to paste it in here and the port. Now let's go lower and populate all the other environment variables. So I'm just gonna paste them in here. You can see we have client, client secret, Google redirect, front-end URL, Slack alert webhook, Slack signing secret. So for the Google redirect, we actually want to use the actual domain that we're going to use. So we're gonna say, remember to have a HTTPS in here because we're going to secure our website. And in here we have api.fairmobilegames/API of callback. And for the front-end URL, that one is going to be this, https fairmobile.games. Okay, let's save this. Cool. The next thing we want to do is to go to SSL, and we want to create a Let's Encrypt certificate. Let's take a look in here. It's going to create a certificate for this domain using this algorithm. We don't want this, so let's try and do obtain certificate. Okay, that works. So that means our website is secure now. So if we go to our api.fairmobile.games, you can see that we see the main Laravel page, the welcome page. Now let's go back in here and create a new website. This one is going to be fairmobile.games, so without the API in front. And here we're going to choose static HTML because this is going to be our front end. And these ones we're just going to leave like this for now. So let's add the website. Okay, so just as before, we're going to use a Git repo for this. We're going to put our repo address. So this time is fmg_client. And let's choose a branch from here. It's going to be the master branch. And we don't want to install Composer dependencies with this one because it's a Vue project. And let's install it. Okay, this has been installed. Now let's go to our environment. And in here, we want to put our API URL. Let's save this. Okay, now also let's go to our SSL and let's secure our website. So it's going to create a certificate for these two domains. And let's click on obtain certificate. Okay, the certificate is now installed. Let's go to our deployments. And we need to change some things around here. So as you can see, this is a script for deploying Laravel projects. We want to change this so we can deploy our Vue project, our Nuxt project. So for that, we're going to change it a bit. So you can see that we're checking out the branch. We are pulling the origin from the branch. This one is a workaround for me, at least, because I have NVM installed on my server. And sometimes when building Tailwind, for some reason, doesn't have enough space. So it seems that this is like a workaround and it works for me. Then you can see I have NVM. And I'm forcing the deployment script to use NVM and to more specifically use Node version 18.17.0. Next, we are installing, then running the build. And here is where we are going to use PM2 to keep our website alive. So this PM2 usually comes pre-installed on your Ubuntu if you start it with Laravel Forge. This is starting our project called FairMobileGames. And when we're going to first deploy it, we're going to run this script. And then after the first deploy, we're going to comment this out and do this, because after that, we'll just want to restart this instance instead of starting it again. Starting it is going to create a new one. So let's do it like this for now. And let's save it. Okay, now let's go really quick to our API project and let's remove this from here. We don't want to see a welcome page. Okay, now let's go to our client project and we have to add a line in here in package.json. After, actually doesn't really matter where. We're gonna create a new line which is gonna say start and is going to give the folder to our build project. Okay, let's save that, close this. Okay, now let's go and actually push our changes. So I'm gonna open my Git Kraken client. Let's make these changes. Let's push them for our client. Now let's go to our API. Let's push these ones too. Now let's go to our DigitalOcean. And DigitalOcean, we can go to our databases and users and databases tab. We're going to create a new database in here called FMG. Let's save that. Now let's go back to our Forge. And in here, let's go to our FairMobileGames API. In here, we want to change our database name. And we want to go in here and say DB database, we're going to say FMG. Let's save this again. Okay, now let's actually deploy. So let's go here to deployments and we're going to click on deploy now. Okay, it seems we're getting an error in here. Okay, in order to fix this error, we just need to go into our API. And then we have to go into one of these migrations that was created by Laravel. I think it's password resets. And in here we need to just add this line where we say set session require primary key 0. Let's import our class. Let's save this and let's push it again. Okay, let's go back to in here. Let's clear this and let's try and deploy again. Okay, that worked. Let's go back to the other side. So we want to go to FairMobileGames. And in here, before we deploy, we actually need to make some changes to the Nginx file. So we'll go in here and say edit Nginx configuration. Let's go a bit lower in here. Okay, so we'll want to change this part. Just delete this and I'll put in my own. So this is just tells us where the front end is going to run. And then we go lower, we have these parts over here. We're just going to delete these. And that should work fine. Okay, now that's saved, let's actually try and deploy it. So the deployment was a success, it seems. Let's go to our browser and let's go to our domain. Okay, and it actually works. Let's see if we can sign in. Okay, and we're in. Let's try and see if we can. Okay, there's nothing found in database, and let's try and do a new report in here. Cool, so this works now. This is a test. Let's submit this. Now if you go to our account. Cool, so everything seems to be working fine. I really hope you enjoyed this series. We are going to continue with creating a Chrome extension later and also a mobile app in Flutter for this. But until then, you can go to the website, create your own reports in here, and also take a look at the repo if you want to see how the code, actually the final code looks. Okay, thanks a lot for your time. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.